Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the most important things that you need to know before starting Teamfight Tactics, which is going to be the new game mode coming out on the live servers this upcoming week. So I'm going to be going over a bunch of things in this video that should get you started. It's going to be like a little mini guide here, and I'm going to try to go over everything that you need to know to get started with Teamfight Tactics. Alright, so when you do get into a game, what you're going to notice is there's going to be a bunch of different champions circling around you, and what you do is you walk up to one of the champions and you curse over them, and you're going to pick them up. So you use your little pet thingy. Your pet doesn't do anything, so it doesn't like give you any sort of advantage or anything. It's just there for you to use your pet to walk up to the champion you want. All you got to do is you got to hover your pet over the champion, and it's going to pick that champion up for you. And the champion you do choose is going to be the one that you ideally want to be building your comp around. But if you pick the wrong champion, or if you hover over the wrong one, it's not like you're going to lose the game off of it. So once you do choose your champion, you're going to head over to your board, and the first couple of rounds are just going to be against monsters. So the first few rounds here are just for you to build up your composition initially, get a couple of champions on the board. You're going to be able to get 3 champions on the board after you do end up playing against the monsters, and these monsters are going to end up giving you items as well. With these items, you can put them on your champions, kind of similar to how you would in League to like buff up your champions. When you do end up combining the items, is gonna put them into a stronger item, and these item combinations, there's a lot of them, and I'm pretty sure there's cheat sheets online and stuff like that as to like what item combinations do what, so I will link that down in the description below as well. So when you are in the first few rounds here against the monsters, you also do want to try to be coming up with what kind of composition you want to build towards. So you want to try and buy champions that have the same class or origin, because once you do get enough champions in the same class or origin, you are going to get bonus stats. And these bonuses are going to show up on the left side of your screen there. So it's going to show you how many champions of the certain class or origin you do have on the field right now. And it is going to show you how many you need until you can get the bonus stats. Now on the right side of the screen there, you are going to see the HP levels of every single player. If you do mouse over a certain player, you can also see their board, so you can see what kind of composition they're looking to build towards. Now everybody's going to start off with 100 HP, and at the end of each round, the person that does end up losing is going to lose HP, and this is going to be based off of how many surviving units the winning player has, and also it's going to be based off of, I'm pretty sure, the tier of the units and what level the units are. So it's always going to depend, and it's going to change with every single round that you do end up fighting. But for example here, if you end up losing and the enemy team has like all of their characters still on the field, if your team didn't take down any one of the enemy's characters, then you're going to lose a ton of HP for that round. But if you end up having a very close fight and the enemy only has one character left on the field, you're going to lose a lot less HP in that scenario. Now, other than trying to get champions that are in the same class or origin in the early stages, you also do want to be buying multiple of the same champions. So if you do end up buying 3 of the same champions, you are going to level that champion up to level 2, and it's just automatically going to do this for you. So if you do see, for example, you got 2 Garens in your deck that you can buy, you also have a Garen like on your playing field right now, then just buy those 2 Garens that are in the deck, and it's going to level that Garen up to level 2 for you. Also, you can level a champion up to level 3, but this does take a lot longer. You do need to have 3 level 2 champions in order to do this, so it does take a lot longer, and you usually don't get these till later on into the game, but when you do get them, they are very strong. Now, similar to League, you do want to be placing your characters on the field as to how you would play them in League. So you want to have your tanks in the front line up front there. You want to have your ranged champions or your squishier champions in the back line. So it's pretty straightforward as to where you should be placing your characters on the field. For example, have your Braum and like your Darius and Garen in the front line, and have your Ashe and your Vayne in the back line. Now, if you do end up buying a character and you're just not using them at all and you just accidentally bought them, or you just want to be building towards a different composition throughout the game, then you can sell your champions. All you got to do is drag your champion back to where you bought them, and it is going to give you the option to sell them. I'm pretty sure they do sell for the exact same amount of gold as you bought them for, so there's no harm in really buying champions because you can just sell them back as well. Now, you do also have the ability to refresh your deck for 2 gold, so this is something that you want to do later on in the game, but not so much in the early stages. In the early stages of the game, you are going to be, or after every single round, your deck is going to refresh by itself. So if you don't see any champions you want there, then just wait for the next round. It's usually the best thing to do in the early game, and it's going to refresh for you. Now, if you do want a certain champion in your deck there, but you don't have enough gold to purchase it at the time, and you have to wait for the next round, and you don't want your deck to refresh, then you can lock your deck. So make sure you are doing this if you still need to save up a little bit of gold, but you still do want a champion that is in your current deck. So the level up system in Teamfight Tactics is pretty similar to how it works in League. However, there's half the levels. The max level is level 9. When you do start off, you are going to be gaining more XP. So the first few levels, you are going to level up a lot quicker. And then the later levels you get, it is going to take you a lot longer to level up. You're going to passively gain XP after each round that you do complete. So you don't want to be buying XP usually in the early game. You do have the ability to spend your gold on XP to level up quicker, but you don't want to be spending your gold on this for the first few levels. You want to be spending your gold on champions in order to get your team composition started. Later on in the game, when you pretty much have your team comp to where you want it, and you only want to basically be getting an extra champion to place on the field, I guess that's another thing I should note here. When you do level up, you are going to gain the ability to place an extra champion on the field, so just keep that in mind as well when you do level up. Each time you level up, you also gain access to new champions. So for example, champions like Karthus and Nivea, Kale, they're not available until later on into the game. You need to be a certain level in order for champions to start showing up in your deck. And once you do level up, it doesn't guarantee that a certain champion is going to show up in your deck for you to purchase. It is random. So even though you level up and even though you might want a certain champion, it might not show up in your deck for like a couple of rounds, or you need to refresh your deck multiple times in order to see that champion that you want. Now, the way the gold system works in the game is that after each round, you are going to gain 5 gold, and you also have the potential to gain more gold depending on a few things. So the more gold you do have saved up, you are going to be gaining extra gold per round. So it's going to be 10 gold. If you do have 10 gold, it's going to give you an extra 1 gold per round, up to a maximum of 5 gold per round. So if you've saved up like 50 gold, you're not buying like really any champions at all, you do have the potential to get a lot of extra gold after each round. So I feel like there are going to be certain strategies to where you don't really buy many champions in the early stages. You just stack up your gold and play for more so the mid to late game. And then also, if you do go on loss streaks or win streaks, you're also going to gain bonus gold for that. Now, later on in the game, when you enter the champion draft stage, if there's no champions circling around that really work with your synergies or that you want to pick up, then you can just grab a champion that has an item component that you want. So this is where knowing which items combine with which to give you what upgrade is really important. So having like the cheat sheet out and knowing what items you do already have is really important at this stage in the game. And also what you can do is you can sell your champions in order to get your items back. So if you do have your items on a champion that you no longer really want to be playing around, or you no longer want to be buffing up, then you can just sell that champion. Your items are going to drop over on the left side there for you to put on a different champion. And as far as I know, the only way for you to switch items and put them on different champions is for you to actually sell the champion that does have the items currently. So for example, if you got your items on Volibear, but you want them on Ashe, you do actually have to sell that Volibear, get rid of him, and then your items are gonna pop up on the side there, and you can drag them over and put them on Ashe. This is definitely something that you should look into doing in the early game though, because in the first stage where you do choose your first champion, if you choose a champion you don't really want, or if it's not somebody that you want to be buffing up, then you can sell that champion in the early stage there, and you can get your item back and put it on somebody that you do actually want to buff up. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully this does give you a pretty good idea of how to play teamfight tactics so that when it does hit live servers next week, you should know the basics and you shouldn't go in just not having any clue on what you should be looking to do. So with that being said, guys, if you do think I missed a certain tip in this video or I missed some sort of basic information that you do think should be included, then let me know down in the comments below. But I did try to keep this pretty basic. I didn't go too in depth into anything. I'll leave that for future videos. So with that being said though, if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.